Now, this was a very interesting way to start the rematch between Jack and Pickle, and honestly, I liked it. Jack went in for the hug, demonstrating to all of us the fandom how big he's become. For example, the first panel of chapter 23, look at the size of his legs, almost pretty much bigger than Pickle. Of course, this isn't exactly how big Jack is, just proportions being a little bit wacky. This has been the case in Baki all the way back in the early days, with potentially more cursed panels when looking at the size of the characters, but I think a lot of the stuff here is showing that Jack is indeed now bigger than Pickle, somehow at least. However, something more interesting is what he actually says here. I've been wanting to see you, my predecessor. This, alongside some other stuff I'll go over shortly, is potentially pointing towards Pickle being part of the Hanma family, at least genetically, a long-lasting theory in the fandom based on various panels we got during Pickle's arc, being very similar to the likes of Yujiro in pretty much physical aspects, including demonstrating a similar stance with his hands in the air. I personally really enjoyed this panel, but unfortunately it's not a real moment. This was just Baki thinking about how the fight between Yujiro and Pickle would actually start. He did a similar thing for some of the other fighters, but with the way it looks, I would still love to have a Yujiro vs Pickle match. Even if Yujiro is way stronger than Pickle currently, I would still love to have Yujiro have an all-out fight against him. Something he even showed interest in doing during his match with Baki. Pickle just taking all of the ogre's attention in that brief moment, forcing out enraged Baki. So with all that said, I'm pretty surprised we haven't had an all-out Yujiro vs Pickle fight, but coming back to the comparisons, Jack could be talking about predecessor in a more regular way with considering what Pickle represents in the series, but the reason I put Pickle Hanma in the thumbnail is mostly due to another panel we got in the chapter, him being interested in fighting Jack now. As such, his hair begins to rise, very similar to Yujiro when he's getting ready for battle, or once again very similar to Baki when he activates his demon back. Pickle is once again sharing a trait with the Hanma family, but also on that note, Masashi Miyamoto had a similar thing occur with him, alongside also performing Yujiro's stance that Baki pointed out at the start of the Masashi arc. So perhaps they're all part of the Hanma family. Nothing about this is officially confirmed within the story, just a cool theory based on some similarities in various panels, and pretty much everyone notices it with Pickle here, so it could be the case, and if we do get that confirmed or revealed in the near future, that would be pretty wild. Which brings us to Jack. Unfortunately, we won't be seeing his hair fly up, as obviously it's too short. I wonder if he will ever grow it out. That could be an interesting look. So for the majority of this chapter, we have Jack thinking back to their initial fight back in Baki Son of Ogre, saying to Pickle that you're the one that made me who I am today. So as I theorized in the previous videos, the main person to credit for the growth of Jack into what he is currently could be argued as Pickle. I've mentioned that he's credited Motobe for Gao Dao, but for everything that Jack represents currently, you pretty much have to credit Pickle and this fight, with Jack directly mentioning the almighty kiss. I believe this is the first time as well. For a long time that was just more so a fandom coined term, or something I've been saying for quite some time, the almighty kiss, but Jack also considers it a kiss. And most importantly, the I guess most impactful moment in that whole exchange was when Jack was trying to go back and fight Pickle for a third time, being stopped by his brother Baki, and then unleashing this almighty cry. One of the most jarring moments we've ever had in the Baki story. Just look at the panel again, it's quite full on. And even to this day, considering the entire Baki story, I don't think we've had a moment where a character unleashes so much despair in a single panel, and I don't think any other moment really comes close. Even when you look at some of the more horrific scenes we've had in Baki, for example, Baki carrying around his dead mother's body, trying to imagine that it's a regular son and mother relationship, while in fact she's dead. Everyone around him is freaking out and all he can do is cry. That was probably the saddest moment, But even comparing that to the despair Jack is showing in this moment, it's not even close. So I guess that's what it means for Jack to accept defeat, explaining why Pickle has impacted Jack the most in the series. But when it comes to this fight and the rematch, Jack wants revenge in the following way. I want to hear you cry out and to see your expression twist as you're filled with despair. He wants Pickle to feel what he felt in the past after being defeated by him those 2 times and accepting defeat pretty much for the first time in his life. You could say Jack accepted it in his fight against Baki, but still comparing that to the initial clashes with Pickle, it wasn't really the same. Therefore, I'm glad this is what Jack wants, and if he does achieve it, it's going to be quite the scene, so hopefully he does. When it comes to the next stuff we get, we have Tokigawa thinking that Pickle probably views Jack like this. This isn't confirmed. I do wonder what Pickle currently sees looking at Jack. Maybe he sees a dead man walking, a ghost, maybe he sees some crazy monster, maybe even a cyborg that he's noticed in his time roaming Tokyo. That would be pretty cool considering Jack's nickname in the series, the biting cyborg. And speaking about biting, the way the fight officially begins here is honestly perfect. Jack is once again talking about how he wants to face all these beasts and be recognized as the greatest biter in history. At least that's what I've gathered from pretty much all the moments we've had from Jack talking about this type of stuff since his return to the series. Now getting the chance to face Pickle again, the one opponent who bested him when it comes to biting in the series, what Jack is meant to be known as, what he's improved on over all these years of training. Jack is now ready for the rematch, and it begins with Pickle actually biting Jack this time, with that being the conclusion of the chapter here. So I do wonder how Jack is going to react to this. It could lead into the almighty kiss occurring again, something which I would say was implied during this chapter, and I do hope it does occur. This time, Jack of course winning that exchange, demonstrating how much he's improved when it comes to biting. However, coming back to the panel of Pickle biting Jack, I wouldn't draw out the possibility that this is just Pickle messing around, as the bite doesn't really seem as intense as I would really expect. His teeth look like regular humans, they don't look really monstrous like Pickle's bites have looked at other moments in the series. So it is a little strange. It could be Pickle just messing around, playing with Jack, similar to what he did with Baki at the start of their fight back in the day. Hopefully this isn't the case, but would say that is a possibility. But something I'm also curious in seeing is how much Pickle has improved and what he's potentially developed on. Maybe he's physically stronger than ever before, which would be a little boring. I hope there's more to it, but we'll have to wait and see. Which brings us to the unfortunate news. Before that, subscribe for more Baki content, that's what I provide. So Baki Rahen is on break next week. The next chapter returns around the 27th of June, so stay tuned for that on the channel. Let me know your thoughts of the chapter. Check out the official partner of the channel with this 10% discount code for gamer subs. The link in the description also has that code, with this being the new flavor that's gone through some, I guess, interesting stuff over the last few days. If you know, you know. Shout out to the members, these absolute mad lads. But that's it guys, peace.